Can you buy a house in Madeira for under 200,000 euros? Now, this is a question I've received loads of emails on. So if your budget is above 200k, let's say 300k, perfect, amazing. You will find a property and hopefully you'll be happy with it. But if your budget is under 200k, there are quite a few compromises you will have to make. But I think it's all just a part of living in paradise, isn't it? So the first one is, I'm going to say, manage your expectations. So if you're looking at a house on the lower end of things, there is a high likelihood, very high likelihood, that it's going to have a ridiculous amount of stairs leading to the property. So my house is 85 steps, and technically it's actually more, because 85, that's like a public path. And then I have the actual steps in my property, which is, I'm going to say probably 12 steps. So quite a few stairs. If I'm being completely honest, I often have to take breaks halfway up the path and just rest. I don't like to go out too often. Like, there have been times where I've left something in the car, or we've gone out and we've forgotten, his water bottle. I then have to go back down and get it, and it's just, it's not ideal. But again, that is one of the caveats. I did previously see a property that was, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was under 100,000 euros. Again, stairs, not as many as I currently have. I think it was probably about, I'm going to say around 50 steps. But there was no bathroom, so there was only an outhouse which had a toilet and kind of a makeshift shower, so not really a shower. If you're someone who is good with home renovations and things of that nature, amazing, you're going to find a great deal, you're going to be happy. But for everyone else who doesn't know what they're doing, that's just something to be mindful of. I have spoken to quite a few locals who have expressed that house prices have really trebled in the past 3 years, more than trebled, to a point where it's just not feasible for the average Portuguese person anymore. I think what we have to be mindful of is when we come here, and I'm going to use myself for example. So I was like, oh yeah, look, there's a house that's let's say 150k. Oh, that's so affordable. But we have to remember that it's relative. So wherever you're coming from, it may be affordable there, but here that is not. That's out of reach for a lot of people. So a lot of houses I've noticed recently are being priced towards people coming in. This is just me speculating. The golden visa for property investments, I believe, was stopped in mainland Portugal, but it still continues here and in the Azores. So there are still loads of properties that are highly inflated just so that people can buy them and get their visa. So they're not, in my opinion, they're not worth what they're being listed for. He has been eating my hand this entire video, so I'm glad he's finally resting. So yeah, okay. Location, location, location. I've raised this in previous videos, but if you want more bang for your buck, I'd highly recommend that you stay away from Funchal, Calheta, Câmara de Lobos, areas like that. If you do head towards the mountains, there are better deals to be had. Actually, on that note, I've noticed that loads of people around my area, so in Mont, have been doing up their houses lately. So properties that were previously, they weren't far off ruins, but I'm going to say dilapidated. Properties that were previously dilapidated are now being renovated. So I don't know whether it's a case of people are just doing up their houses so that they can enjoy it and live there, or whether those properties will soon be on the market. We shall see. So wisely pick what part of the island you want to live in. Everyone tends to be drawn to the south, obviously because of the weather, the infrastructure, everything like that. But there are better deals to be had in the north. The east, yes. And the west. I've actually seen some really decent listings in the west of the island. But to be honest, I haven't explored that area enough. I've been to the hidden beach and I've driven around it, but I haven't really fully explored that area, so I will get back to you with a separate video on my favourite parts of the west of the island. I recommend that you go on Idealista, which is the site I used, and look for properties in villages. So the island is small. I mean, you can drive around the whole of the island probably in about 3 hours. Nothing is really that far away in the grand scheme of things. There are so many tunnels that literally cut through the mountains. Like, you could be wherever you need to be in a relatively short amount of time. So I would say be creative with the area you want to live in. So just think outside of the box, look at the property, look at the view, look at whether or not it's actually in your price range. Barking dogs, so Philippe's upset, he's gone to go and, yeah. If you want to buy a flat or apartment within the range of 200, you're fine. There are more than enough flats, it's perfectly fine. But if you want a house with your own garden, that's when it becomes a bit more tricky. If you see me in town in these trousers, no you didn't. I mean, technically they're pajamas, but I've basically been living in them for the past 2 days. I've partially fixed the roof. Fingers crossed it hasn't rained yet, so I haven't tested it. And what else have I done? Okay, I did one thing, but still. This is what I have left. I'm going to burn it because I'm literally getting bitten to absolute crap as I sit here. Joys of living in Madeira. It's actually quite effective, and I buy a pack of 10 from Leroy Merlin for €2, so I think that's really affordable.